The distress signal crackled through the void, a desperate pulse of electromagnetic energy that had traveled across 17 light-years before reaching Earth's orbital monitoring stations. Most species would have dismissed it as background noise, another casualty of the unforgiving cosmos, but humans were different. They had evolved on a world that killed everything it touched, and they had learned to answer cries for help even when it meant walking into certain death. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Resilience, watching the decoded message play for the third time. The holographic display showed a creature unlike anything in Earth's xenobiological databases. It stood roughly 8 feet tall, with crystalline skin that refracted light into prismatic patterns. Its forearms moved frantically as it spoke in a language the translation matrix struggled to parse. "Help us." The message finally resolved into understandable words. "Our ship is failing. Gravity well too strong. Cannot escape. Coordinates attached. Please, if anyone receives this, we are the last of our kind." The coordinates pointed to a system on the edge of the galactic arm, where a massive black hole slowly devoured everything in its vicinity. No sane species would venture there. The gravitational forces alone would crush most ships like tin cans, and the radiation would cook organic matter in minutes. It was a death trap wrapped in a nightmare, seasoned with impossibility. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Rodriguez called from the navigation station, "I've run the calculation 6 times, even with our newest gravitational shielding. We'd have maybe a 30% chance of survival." "That's assuming everything goes perfectly." Chen nodded grimly. The UES Resilience was humanity's most advanced vessel, built with technology reverse-engineered from a dozen different alien species they'd encountered over the past century. But even with their improvements, it was still a ship designed by beings who had learned to thrive in conditions that would liquefy most other life forms. "What's the crew complement of their vessel?" she asked. "Translation suggests approximately 2,000 individuals, Captain. But the signal is over 6 months old. We don't know how many are still alive. 2,000 lives." Chen had seen entire civilizations rise and fall in her 40-year career, but the thought of an entire species dying alone in the dark while help existed somewhere in the galaxy made her stomach turn. Humans had been the new kids on the Galactic block for less than 2 centuries, and they'd already gained a reputation that made other species nervous. Not because they were aggressive or expansionist, but because they kept doing things that shouldn't be possible. "Prep the ship for maximum burn," she ordered. "We're going in." The bridge crew exchanged glances. They'd served with Chen long enough to know that tone meant the decision was final, but this was different. This wasn't just dangerous. It was potentially suicidal. "Captain," Chief Engineer Petrov's voice came through the comm system. "I've been monitoring the discussion. We can modify the gravitational shielding, but it'll mean stripping power from life support, artificial gravity, and weapon systems. We'll be flying blind and hoping our hull holds together." "How long would the modifications take?" 18 hours if we work around the clock. "But Captain, even if we survive the approach, how do we plan to extract 2,000 beings from a ship that's falling into a black hole?" Chen smiled grimly. It was the same smile her ancestors had worn when they decided to leave the trees, cross the oceans, and reach for the stars. It was the smile of a species that had survived ice ages, supervolcanic eruptions, and their own tendency toward self-destruction. "We'll figure it out when we get there, Chief, we always do." The next 18 hours passed in a blur of frantic activity. Every department pushed their systems beyond recommended limits. The engineering teams worked in shifts, modifying shield generators that had never been designed for such extreme conditions. The medical bay prepared for casualties they might not be able to treat. The tactical department ran simulations of rescue scenarios that defied every principle of safe spaceflight. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the ship's xenobiologist, spent her time analyzing the aliens' physiological data gleaned from the distress signal. "They're silicon-based," she reported to the senior staff. "Crystalline matrix instead of carbon chains. They can survive in conditions that would freeze us solid, but they're vulnerable to the kind of radiation we'll encounter near the black hole. So we're rescuing people who are tougher than us from something we're better equipped to handle?" Rodriguez asked. "Essentially, yes. Their ship appears to be made from the same crystalline material as their bodies. Beautiful, but not designed for the kind of gravitational stress they're experiencing." As the Resilience dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the target system, the full scope of their challenge became apparent. The black hole dominated the view, A sphere of absolute darkness surrounded by a disk of matter being torn apart and superheated as it spiraled to its doom. The alien ship appeared as a tiny speck of reflected light, caught in a decaying orbit that would see it cross the event horizon in less than 36 hours. "My God," whispered the helmsman. "How did they even survive this long?" Chen studied the tactical display. The alien vessel was indeed magnificent, shaped like a massive crystal formation that caught and reflected the light from the accretion disk. But even from this distance, they could see chunks of it breaking away, unable to withstand the tidal forces trying to tear it apart. "Signal them," Chen ordered. "Let them know help has arrived." The response came back almost immediately, and this time the translation was crystal clear. The voice that emerged from the speakers was melodic, almost musical, but tinged with disbelief. "Human vessel, this is harmonic conductor HFY of the resonance. You actually came? Your species would risk extinction to save strangers." Chen keyed the communications herself. "Conductor HFY, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earthship Resilience. We received your distress call. We're here to get you out of there." There was a long pause before the alien responded. "Captain Chen, our sensors show your vessel approaching the gravity well. This is madness. Your ship will be destroyed and we will still die. Why would you do this?" Chen looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew. Every one of them knew the odds. Every one of them had volunteered for this mission anyway. Because that's what humans did. They ran toward the danger when someone needed help. Because that's what neighbors do, conductor. Now let's figure out how to get you home. The Resilience shuddered as it entered the outer edge of the black hole's influence, gravitational forces tugging at the hull like invisible hands trying to tear the ship apart. Captain Chen gripped her command chair as the deck plates groaned beneath her feet. The engineering modifications were holding, but barely. "Distance to the resonance?" she called out over the growing noise of stressed metal. 2 million kilometers in closing, Rodriguez reported, his voice tight with concentration. "Their orbit is degrading faster than predicted. We have maybe 20 hours before they cross the point of no return." On the main display, the alien ship grew larger as they approached. What had seemed like a beautiful crystal formation from a distance revealed itself to be a living work of art. The resonance was grown rather than built, its organic, crystalline structure pulsing with soft bioluminescent patterns that created a harmony of light across its translucent surfaces. But the beauty was marred by the obvious damage. Massive cracks ran along its length, and entire sections had been torn away by the relentless gravitational stress. "Captain," Dr. Vasquez's voice came through the comm, "I'm reading massive structural failure throughout their vessel. They're literally coming apart at the molecular level. How they've survived this long defies every principle of physics I know." Chen opened a channel to the alien ship. "Conductor HFY, we need to discuss evacuation procedures. What's your ship's current population, and how quickly can you prepare them for transfer?" The response came with a harmonic quality that made the universal translator struggle to find equivalent human concepts. "Captain Chen, we number 1,743 souls remaining. But there is something you must understand about our species. We are not merely individuals as you humans are. We are a harmonic collective. Our ship itself is alive, grown from our combined essence over generations. To abandon the resonance would be to lose not just our home, but our very identity." Chief Engineer Petrov's voice cut through the bridge chatter. "Captain, I'm reading some unusual energy signatures from their vessel. It's almost like they're using harmonic resonance to hold their ship together, but the frequency is becoming unstable." Chen felt a chill that had nothing to do with the black hole's radiation. She'd encountered dozens of alien species in her career, but this was the first time she'd met beings whose very existence was tied to their technology in such a fundamental way. Saving them wasn't just a matter of transportation. It was a question of preserving their entire civilization. "Conductor, is there any way to preserve your harmonic matrix during the evacuation? Can your people survive separation from the resonance?" The pause that followed seemed to stretch for an eternity. When HFY finally responded, the melodic quality of their voice had taken on overtones of deep sadness. "We can survive temporarily, but without our ship's resonance chamber, we will begin to lose our collective consciousness within days. Our individual minds were never meant to exist in isolation. We are like notes in a symphony, Captain. Alone we are just noise." Dr. Vasquez burst onto the bridge, a data pad clutched in her hands. "Captain, I've been analyzing their ship's harmonic frequencies. I think I understand what we're dealing with. Their entire species exists in a state of quantum entanglement with their vessel. It's not just transportation, it's their living neural network. Can we replicate it? Chen asked. Not with our current technology, but... Vasquez paused, her eyes bright with sudden inspiration. What if we don't need to replicate it? What if we can save the ship itself? Lieutenant Rodriguez looked up from his station in disbelief. Doctor, that vessel masses over 2 million tons and it's falling into a black hole. Our gravitational shields are barely keeping us intact as it is. I know it sounds impossible, Vasquez continued, but look at these readings. The resonance isn't just made of crystalline matter. It's held together by a quantum field, generated by the collective consciousness of its inhabitants. If we could stabilize that field, reinforce it somehow. Chen studied the data flowing across her displays. The tactical situation was deteriorating by the minute. The resonance was losing structural integrity at an accelerating rate, and the window for any kind of rescue operation was closing fast. But something in Dr. Vasquez's proposal sparked a memory from her academy days, a theoretical paper on quantum field manipulation that had been dismissed as pure science fiction. Chief Petrov, she called into the comm, remember that crazy idea you had about using our gravitational shield generators as resonance amplifiers? The one the Admiralty said would never work? There was a moment of silence before Petrov's voice came back, heavy with realization. Captain, that was just a theoretical exercise. We've never tested it, and the power requirements would drain our entire energy grid. But could it work? In theory, yes. If we could synchronize our shield generators with their harmonic frequency, we might be able to create a stable resonance field large enough to encompass both ships. But Captain, if we're wrong, we'll lose both vessels and everyone aboard them. Chen looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew. They'd followed her into impossible situations before, but this was different. This was beyond impossible. It was theoretical insanity based on untested science and desperate hope. Conductor HFY, she said, opening the channel again. We have a proposal. It's extremely dangerous and has never been attempted before. We want to try to stabilize your ship's harmonic matrix using our gravitational shield technology. The response came immediately, filled with harmonics that the translator rendered as amazement and disbelief. Captain, such a thing is beyond our understanding of physics. Your species would attempt to manipulate forces that we ourselves barely comprehend? We're humans, Chen replied simply. We specialize in doing things that shouldn't be possible. But we need your help. We need your people to amplify their harmonic output while we synchronize our shields. It means trusting us with something we don't fully understand. Another pause. This one filled with what sounded like hundreds of voices conferring in harmonies too complex for human ears to follow. Finally, HFY spoke for their collective. Captain Chen, your species continues to astound us. 6 months ago, we sent our distress call into the void with no hope of rescue. We are the last of our kind, refugees from a dying star system. We expected to perish alone and forgotten. Instead, beings from a world we've never seen risk everything to save us. If you believe this is possible, then we will trust in the impossible. Chen felt the weight of 2 civilizations resting on her shoulders. If they failed, humanity would lose one of its most advanced ships and crews, and the universe would lose the last remnant of what appeared to be a remarkably beautiful culture. But if they succeeded, all hands, this is the captain, she announced shipwide. We're about to attempt something that has never been done before. We're going to try to save the resonance using theoretical physics and sheer human stubbornness. I won't lie to you, the odds are terrible. But that's never stopped us before. She paused, looking out at the swirling death spiral of the accretion disk. Let's make some history. The resilience moved into position alongside the resonance. 2 vastly different expressions of intelligence and will, dwarfed by the cosmic monster that sought to devour them both. The alien vessel looked even more magnificent up close, its crystalline surfaces alive with patterns of light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with some unheard heartbeat. But the damage was severe. Entire sections flickered between solidity and transparency as the harmonic matrix struggled to maintain cohesion. Gravitational stress increasing, Rodriguez reported, his knuckles white as he fought to keep the ship stable. We're now experiencing forces equivalent to 12 Earth gravities. Hull integrity holding at 85%. In the engineering section, Chief Petrov worked alongside his team to implement modifications that existed only in theoretical papers and desperate imagination. Banks of shield generators that had been designed to deflect enemy fire were being reconfigured to produce harmonic resonance patterns. Every calculation had to be perfect. A single miscalibration could tear both ships apart in seconds. "Captain," Dr. Vasquez called from her science station, "I'm detecting massive quantum fluctuations throughout the resonance. Their harmonic matrix is breaking down faster than we anticipated. We have maybe 10 minutes before they lose structural cohesion entirely." Chen opened a channel to the alien ship. "Conductor Zephyr, we need your people to begin the harmonic amplification now. Can your collective maintain synchronization while we attempt the field merger?" The response came through in waves of complex harmonies that made the bridge speakers vibrate. "Captain Chen, our people are afraid. Many have never experienced the kind of quantum stress we are under. Our collective consciousness is fragmenting, and some of our voices are becoming lost in the chaos. Can you hold together long enough for us to try?" We will attempt it. But, Captain, if we fail, please know that your species has given us something we had lost. Hope. We will sing your names in our final harmonies so that some echo of human courage might survive even if we do not." Chen felt tears she hadn't expected sting her eyes. In all her years of command, she'd never encountered beings who faced death with such grace and gratitude. It made the risk they were taking feel not just necessary, but inevitable. "Chief Petrov, status on the modifications?" "Final calibrations complete, Captain. I've never been less certain about anything in my life, but the math checks out. In theory. Maybe. I'm reading harmonic frequencies from the resonance that match our projections. If we're going to do this, it has to be now." Chen took a deep breath and keyed the ship-wide comm. "All stations prepare for harmonic field merger. This is going to get rough." The first attempt nearly shook the resilience apart. As the modified shield generators came online, they produced a harmonic frequency that clashed violently with the alien ship's natural resonance. Both vessels shuddered as competing quantum fields tore at their molecular structure. Warning lights flashed across every station on the bridge. "Shut it down," Chen ordered, but Petrov was already ahead of her. "Field merger unsuccessful," he reported. "Their harmonic matrix is more complex than we anticipated. It's not just a single frequency, it's thousands of interwoven patterns that shift in response to their collective emotional state." Dr. Vasquez stared at her readings in fascination and growing understanding. "Captain, I think I see the problem. We're trying to match their resonance using mechanical precision. But their field is organic, responsive, alive. We need to approach this like music, not mathematics." "What do you mean?" "Think about it. Human music isn't just frequencies, it's emotion, timing, intuition. Maybe we need to stop thinking like engineers and start thinking like musicians." The idea was so fundamentally unscientific that Chen's training rebelled against it. But then she remembered something her grandmother had told her as a child. "Sarah, sometimes the heart knows things the mind hasn't figured out yet." "Conductor Zephyr," she called to the alien ship, "we need to try a different approach. Instead of matching your harmonics mechanically, we want to learn your song." "Can you teach us to sing with you?" The pause that followed was filled with what sounded like thousands of voices conferring in rapid musical conversation. When Zephyr finally responded, their voice carried overtones of surprise and something that might have been joy. "Captain, in all our species' history, no other race has ever attempted to join our collective song. Your proposal is unprecedented, but yes, if your people can learn to feel the rhythm of our consciousness, perhaps we can create a harmony that neither of our species could achieve alone." Dr. Vasquez worked frantically at her station, analyzing the complex interplay of frequencies emanating from the resonance. "Captain, I'm detecting patterns within patterns. Their harmonic matrix isn't just holding their ship together. It's a living representation of their entire culture. Their history, their hopes and fears all woven into quantum frequencies. Can we learn it? Not all of it, but maybe enough. Look at this. There's an underlying structure, a base frequency that all the other patterns build from. If we can match that and let our field generators respond naturally to their harmonic variations." Chief Petrov's voice came through the comm with growing excitement. "Captain, I think I understand what the doctor means. Instead of trying to control our field output precisely, we could set up a feedback loop. Let our generators respond to their harmonics in real time, like an echo that grows stronger instead of weaker." Chen felt a spark of hope. It was still theoretical, still impossible by conventional standards. But it felt right in a way that pure mathematics couldn't capture. "Do it," she ordered. This time, when the modified shield generators came online, something magical happened. Instead of clashing with the alien ship's harmonic matrix, the Resilience's quantum field began to dance with it. The two patterns wove together like voices in a duet, each strengthening the other. The effect was immediate and stunning. The resonance's failing structure stabilized as the combined harmonic field reinforced its crystalline matrix. Cracks stopped spreading, and chunks of debris that had been breaking away suddenly snapped back into position as if pulled by invisible threads. "It's working," Dr. Vasquez shouted over the humming that now filled the entire ship. "Both vessels are stabilizing."
"We're actually doing it!"
But their celebration was short-lived. The black hole's gravitational pull was still increasing, and even their combined strength might not be enough to escape the inexorable fall toward the event horizon. "Time to point of no return?" Chen asked. Rodriguez checked his calculations twice before answering. 7 hours, Captain. We're buying time, but we're still falling. Even with both ships working together, we don't have enough power to break free of the gravity well." Chen stared at the tactical display, watching their combined life signs spiral slowly toward certain death. They'd achieved the impossible by creating a harmony between two radically different technologies. But physics was still physics. The black hole was simply too massive, too hungry to be denied by even their greatest efforts. Then Dr. Vasquez spoke up with a voice full of sudden realization. "Captain, what if we're thinking about this wrong? What if we don't need to fight the black hole? What if we can use it?" Dr. Vasquez's words hung in the air like a challenge to the fundamental laws of physics. The bridge crew turned to stare at her as she pulled up a complex gravitational model on the main display, her fingers dancing across holographic controls with increasing excitement. "Look at this," she said, highlighting the swirling patterns of the accretion disk. "The black hole isn't just pulling us in, it's creating a massive gravitational gradient. All that matter spiraling inward is moving at incredible velocities. And the differential between inner and outer orbits creates enormous rotational energy." Captain Chen studied the display, trying to follow Vasquez's reasoning. "Doctor, are you suggesting we somehow harness the black hole's rotation?" "Exactly. It's called the Penrose process, theoretical until now, but the principle is sound. If we can position ourselves correctly in the ergosphere, the region just outside the event horizon where space-time itself is dragged around by the black hole's rotation, we could use that rotational energy to slingshot ourselves out of the gravity well." Chief Petrov's voice came through the comm, with a mixture of admiration and terror. "Doctor, that's brilliant and completely insane. The gravitational forces in the ergosphere would crush both ships like tin cans, and the timing would have to be perfect. We'd have one chance, and if we miss it, we fall past the event horizon and disappear forever. But we're not just two separate ships anymore," Vasquez continued, her excitement growing. "We're a harmonically linked system. The resonance's crystalline structure can handle gravitational stress that would destroy us, and our shield technology can protect them from the radiation that would kill them. Together we might actually survive long enough to execute the maneuver." Chen felt the familiar tingle of a plan that was so dangerous it just might work. She'd built her career on impossible rescues and desperate gambles, but this was beyond anything she'd ever attempted. They would be staking everything on theoretical physics in the hope that two radically different technologies could work together in conditions that would challenge the limits of known science. "Conductor, HFY," she called to the alien ship. "We have another proposal. It involves getting much closer to the black hole than we are now." The response came back immediately, filled with harmonics that the translator rendered as curiosity and concern. "Captain Chen, our sensors indicate that our current trajectory will carry us past the point of safe return within 6 hours. How much closer to the void could we possibly go? Close enough to use its own power against it. We want to attempt something called a Penrose extraction. We'd use the black hole's rotation to slingshot both our ships out of the gravity well." The silence that followed stretched for nearly a minute. When HFY finally responded, their voice carried overtones of what could only be described as stunned disbelief. "Captain, your species continues to amaze us. You propose to steal energy from the cosmic predator that seeks to devour us. Our collective has never encountered such audacity, but our harmonic calculations suggest that such a maneuver might indeed be possible if our ships can maintain quantum coherence through forces that no vessel has ever survived. Dr. Vasquez was already working on trajectory calculations, her fingers flying over the controls as she modeled gravitational fields and rotational dynamics. Captain, I'm plotting a course that would take us through the inner edge of the accretion disk. We'd need to maintain our harmonic link throughout the entire maneuver, and the timing has to be precise to within microseconds. What are our chances? Chen asked. Honestly, I have no idea. This has never been attempted by anyone anywhere, but the alternative is certain death, so the odds are technically infinite improvement. Rodriguez looked up from his navigation station with a grim expression. Captain, I'm reading massive instabilities in the accretion disk. The material spiraling into the black hole is creating gravitational waves that are affecting local spacetime. Flying through that isn't just dangerous. It's like trying to navigate through a storm made of twisted reality. Chen studied the tactical display, watching the chaotic dance of matter and energy that surrounded the black hole. Every instinct she'd developed over decades of command told her that what they were contemplating was suicide. But every principle she'd learned about humanity told her that sometimes the impossible was just another word for not yet attempted. Chief Petrov, she called into the comm, can our harmonic link with the resonance be maintained through the kind of stress we're talking about? Captain, I've been running simulations since Dr. Vasquez proposed this madness. The theoretical answer is yes, but only if both crews work in perfect coordination. The harmonic field that's keeping us linked will need constant adjustment as we move through varying gravitational gradients. It'll be like trying to sing a duet while riding a hurricane. Conductor Zephi's voice cut through the bridge chatter. Captain Chen, our collective has reached consensus. We have lived our entire existence in harmony with cosmic forces, but never have we attempted to master them. If your species believes this path offers hope, then we will follow wherever human courage leads us. Chen felt the weight of decision settle on her shoulders. She was about to commit 2 ships and nearly 3,000 lives to a maneuver that existed only in theoretical papers and desperate hope. But as she looked around her bridge at the faces of her crew, she saw the same determination that had carried humanity from the caves to the stars. All hands, this is the captain, she announced shipwide. We're about to attempt a Penrose extraction using the black hole's own rotational energy to escape the gravity well. This maneuver has never been attempted before, and the margin for error is essentially 0. But we didn't come this far to give up now. She paused, looking out at the swirling maelstrom of the accretion disk. Engineering, begin modifications for high-stress gravitational maneuvering. Navigation, plot our course through the ergosphere. Science, monitor our harmonic link with the resonance and be ready to make real-time adjustments. Medical, prepare for casualties and gravitational stress injuries. Dr. Vasquez looked up from her calculations with a mixture of excitement and terror. Captain, I've identified our insertion point. We need to enter the ergosphere at precisely the right angle and velocity. Maintain our trajectory for exactly 47 minutes while the black hole's rotation accelerates us. Then exit at the optimal moment to convert our orbital velocity into escape velocity. And if we miss our exit window, then we become part of the black hole's information content for the rest of eternity. Chen nodded grimly. It was exactly the kind of all-or-nothing gamble that separated humans from every other species in the galaxy. They didn't just accept impossible odds, they made them personal challenges. Set course for the ergosphere, she ordered. Let's go steal some energy from a black hole. As the resilience and resonance began their descent into the most dangerous region of spacetime, their harmonic field sang a duet of defiance against the cosmic forces that sought to destroy them. It was a song that had never been heard before in the universe, the sound of 2 civilizations refusing to surrender to the impossible. The descent into the ergosphere was like falling through layers of increasingly twisted reality. As the resilience and resonance dropped deeper into the black hole's gravitational embrace, spacetime itself began to behave in ways that challenged every assumption about the nature of existence. The harmonic field linking the 2 ships flickered and warped as gravitational gradients pulled at their quantum coherence. Hull stress approaching critical limits, Rodriguez reported, his voice tight with concentration as he fought to maintain their precise trajectory. The gravitational shear is trying to stretch us like taffy. Through the reinforced viewports, the universe had taken on a surreal quality. Stars stretched into streaks of light as extreme gravitational lensing bent photons around the black hole's event horizon. The accretion disk blazed with the fury of matter being compressed and superheated as it spiraled toward its final destination, painting everything in hellish shades of orange and red. Dr. Vasquez worked frantically at her station, monitoring the harmonic resonance between the two ships as they plunged deeper into conditions that no sentient beings had ever experienced and survived. The quantum field is holding, but barely. The resonance's crystalline structure is actually helping to stabilize. Our link, their natural harmonic frequencies, are adapting to the gravitational stress in ways our technology couldn't manage alone. Captain Chen gripped her command chair as the ship shuddered through a particularly violent gravitational wave. Around her, the bridge crew worked with the kind of focused intensity that came from knowing that any mistake would be their last. They were now so deep in the black hole's influence that the outside universe seemed like a distant memory. "Time to exit, window?" she called out. 36 minutes and counting, Vasquez replied. "But Captain, I'm detecting massive instabilities in the accretion disk ahead of us. There's a debris field from what looks like several destroyed ships, other vessels that weren't as fortunate as we've been so far." The tactical display showed a graveyard of twisted metal and exotic materials, the remains of civilizations that had ventured too close to the cosmic predator and paid the ultimate price. Some of the debris was recent, still glowing from the heat of its destruction. Other pieces had been caught in stable orbits for what might have been centuries, slowly spiraling inward as they waited for the black hole's final embrace. "Conductor HFY," Chen called to the alien ship. "Are you seeing this debris field?" The response came back filled with harmonics of sadness and recognition. "Captain Chen, we see them. Some of these vessels, we recognize their design signatures. Ships from our home system. Refugees like ourselves who attempted to escape when our star began to die. We thought we were the last, but it appears others tried to flee and were caught by this same gravitational trap." The weight of that revelation settled over both crews like a shroud. They weren't just attempting to escape a black hole. They were flying through a cemetery of hopes and dreams, the final resting place of entire civilizations that had sought survival among the stars. "Chief Petrov," Chen called into the comm. "Can we navigate through the debris field without disrupting our harmonic link?" "It's going to be tricky, Captain. Some of those larger pieces are massive enough to create their own gravitational anomalies. Plus, I'm reading exotic materials that could interfere with our quantum field coherence. We'll need to thread the needle while maintaining perfect synchronization with the resonance." As they moved deeper into the debris field, the true scope of the tragedy became apparent. Hundreds of ships from dozens of different species had met their end here, drawn by the same desperate hope that had brought the resonance to this place. Each twisted hull represented thousands of lives, entire cultures that had been snuffed out by the unforgiving mathematics of gravitational physics. But among the wreckage, Dr. Vasquez noticed something that made her lean forward in sudden excitement. "Captain, I'm reading energy signatures from some of the larger debris pieces. They're not completely dead. There are still active power cores, exotic matter containment systems, even what looks like operational quantum field generators." "Are you thinking what I think you're thinking, Doctor? The debris field isn't just an obstacle, it's a resource. If we could tap into some of those active systems, we might be able to boost our own harmonic field strength. Give us a better chance of maintaining coherence through the extraction maneuver." The idea was audacious even by human standards. They were already attempting something that existed only in theoretical physics, flying two linked ships through the most dangerous region of space-time imaginable. Now Vasquez was suggesting they stop to salvage technology from the graveyard that surrounded them. "The timing would have to be perfect," Rodriguez warned. "We have less than 20 minutes before we reach the optimal exit point. Any deviation from our current trajectory could throw off our entire escape plan." Chen made the kind of split-second decision that had defined her career. "Do it. Target the largest active debris piece within our trajectory. We'll grab what we can and integrate it into our harmonic field." The maneuver that followed was a masterpiece of precision flying and technological improvisation. As the Resilience extended magnetic grapples toward a section of what had once been a massive alien vessel, the crew of the Resonance sang their harmonic frequencies in perfect synchronization, creating a quantum field stable enough to encompass all three objects. "Got it," Chief Petrov announced as the salvage technology integrated with their existing systems. Power levels increasing by 40%. Harmonic field coherence up to 95%. Whatever this technology is, it's compatible with both our systems and theirs. Dr. Vasquez studied the energy readings with growing amazement.
Captain, this isn't just compatible technology, it's adaptive.
The salvage systems are learning from our harmonic patterns and optimizing themselves in real time. It's like the combined consciousness of all these lost civilizations is helping us succeed where they failed. The thought sent chills down Chen's spine. They weren't just carrying the hopes of humanity, and the last survivors of the resonant species, they were being supported by the accumulated knowledge and desperate wishes of everyone who had ever tried to escape this gravitational prison. 15 minutes to exit window, Rodriguez announced. Velocity building beyond calculated parameters. The additional power from the salvage systems is accelerating us faster than we anticipated. Is that good or bad? Chen asked. Unknown, Captain. We're in uncharted territory now, but our escape velocity should be sufficient to break free of the gravity. Well, if we can maintain this trajectory, as they approached the critical moment when they would either achieve escape velocity or fall past the point of no return, Conductor HFY's voice filled the bridge with harmonics of wonder and gratitude. Captain Chen, our sensors show that we are approaching speeds that should be impossible for any vessel to achieve. The combined harmonic field generated by our three-ship configuration is resonating with the fundamental frequencies of space-time itself. We are not merely escaping the black hole, we are riding the very fabric of reality. Chen watched the countdown timer approach 0, knowing that the next few minutes would determine whether their desperate gamble would be remembered as humanity's greatest triumph or its most spectacular failure. Outside the viewports, the universe had become a tunnel of twisted light as they approached the edge of the ergosphere, balanced on the knife's edge between escape and eternal imprisonment. 10 seconds to exit window, Rodriguez called out. All hands, prepare for emergency power. Transfer to propulsion systems. Chen took a deep breath and prepared to give the order that would commit them to their final gamble against the cosmic forces that sought to destroy them. Execute extraction maneuver. Now. The universe exploded into chaos as the three linked vessels executed their desperate extraction maneuver. Every system aboard the Resilience screamed in protest as forces beyond human comprehension tore at their quantum harmony. The salvaged alien technology blazed with energy patterns that had never existed before, creating a resonance cascade that turned their improvised escape pod into something that defied every known law of physics. Hull integrity down to 40%, Rodriguez shouted over the cacophony of alarms and grinding metal. The gravitational shear is tearing us apart. Through the maelstrom of twisted spacetime, Captain Chen could see the resonance struggling to maintain cohesion. The beautiful crystalline vessel flickered between solid matter and pure energy, as its harmonic matrix fought against forces that threatened to unravel the very atoms of its construction, but somehow impossibly the link between the ships held. Harmonic field coherence at 120% and climbing, Dr. Vasquez called out, her voice filled with disbelief. The salvage technology isn't just supporting our field, it's amplifying it beyond anything we thought possible. We're creating a resonance bubble that's actually pushing back against the black hole's gravity. The sensation was indescribable. Every person aboard both ships could feel the universe bending around them, as their combined consciousness and technology created something new, something that had never existed in the cosmos before. They weren't just escaping the black hole. They were proving that intelligence and determination could triumph over the most fundamental forces of nature. Chief Petrov's voice crackled through the comm system, barely audible over the chaos. Captain, I'm reading massive energy fluctuations in the salvage systems. Whatever we're doing, it's pushing this technology far beyond its original design parameters. I don't know how long it can hold together. How long do we need? Chen asked. 3 more minutes to clear the ergosphere. 4 minutes to achieve stable escape velocity. After that, we'll be free of the gravity well. 4 minutes had never seemed so long. As the seconds crawled by, the three ships rode their impossible wave of harmonized energy through conditions that should have atomized them instantly. The debris field around them began to glow as their resonance field awakened dormant systems in the ancient wrecks, creating a chain reaction of activation that spread throughout the graveyard of lost civilizations. Captain, Dr. Vasquez said, her voice filled with awe, the entire debris field is coming alive. Every piece of salvageable technology is syncing with our harmonic frequency. It's like the accumulated consciousness of thousands of years of spacefaring civilizations is joining our escape attempt. Through the viewports, the sight was breathtaking and terrifying. Hundreds of derelict vessels blazed with renewed energy as their dormant systems responded to the resonance cascade. Some of the smaller ships actually broke free from their decaying orbits, riding the wake of harmonized spacetime that the three linked vessels had created. Conductor HFY's voice filled the bridge, their harmonics now carrying overtones from dozens of different species as the salvage technology translated and amplified their collective song. Captain Chen, we are no longer just two species working together. We have become the voice of every civilization that ever dared to dream of freedom among the stars. The cosmos itself sings with us. 2 minutes to escape velocity, Rodriguez announced. But Captain, I'm reading massive structural stress in the salvage systems. The resonance cascade is feeding back on itself, creating harmonic amplifications that could tear apart the very atoms holding our ships together. Chen watched the energy readings climb beyond any scale she'd ever seen. They were now generating more power than some small stars, channeling forces that could reshape local spacetime on a fundamental level. It was magnificent and terrifying, the kind of raw cosmic power that species spent millennia learning to harness safely. Chief Petrov, can we modulate the harmonic field? Reduce the amplification before it destroys us? Negative, Captain. The cascade is self-sustaining now. We're riding a wave of pure energy through folded spacetime. All we can do is hold on and hope our hull can take the stress. The Resilience shuddered through another violent gravitational wave as they approached the edge of the ergosphere. Around them, the universe began to stabilize as the extreme curvature of spacetime gradually relaxed. But the energy cascade continued to build, fed by the accumulated technology and desperate hopes of countless extinct civilizations. 1 minute to stable escape trajectory, Rodriguez called out, velocity approaching significant fractions of light speed. Whatever we've created here, it's not just getting us out of the gravity well, it's accelerating us beyond anything our propulsion systems could achieve. Dr. Vasquez stared at her readings in wonder. Captain, I don't think we understand what's happening anymore. The harmonic resonance we've created isn't just moving us through space. It's creating a bubble of altered spacetime around our ships. We're not traveling faster than light, but we're compressing the distance between here and there. Are you saying we've accidentally invented a faster-than-light drive? I'm saying we've accidentally proven that consciousness and technology working in perfect harmony can manipulate the fundamental structure of reality itself. This isn't just engineering anymore, Captain. This is evolution. As they crossed the threshold into stable space free from the black hole's gravitational influence, the energy cascade began to stabilize. The three ships found themselves traveling at impossible velocities through normal space, surrounded by a dozen smaller vessels that had been pulled along in their wake, ancient ships from the debris field that had somehow been restored to functionality by the resonance wave. All stop, Chen ordered, and slowly, incredibly, their improvised fleet came to rest in the empty void between stars. The silence that followed was profound. For the first time in hours, there were no alarms, no stressed metal, no gravitational forces trying to tear them apart, just the gentle hum of functioning technology and the quiet breathing of crews who had just accomplished something that would be remembered for millennia. Damage report, Chen called out, though she almost didn't want to break the spell of their survival. Hull integrity stabilizing at 65%, Rodriguez reported. All major systems functional. The salvage technology has integrated with our existing systems so completely that I can't tell where. Our ship ends and the alien tech begins. Dr. Vasquez looked up from her station with tears streaming down her face. Captain, we did it. We actually did it. We stole energy from a black hole, proved that consciousness can affect the structure of spacetime, and accidentally created a method of faster-than-light travel that doesn't require any exotic matter or impossible engineering. And rescued the last survivors of the resonant species, Chen added, along with apparently bringing back to life ships from a dozen other extinct civilizations. Conductor HFY's voice filled the bridge, their harmonics now carrying traces of all the species whose technology had joined their escape. Captain Chen, our collective consciousness has been permanently changed by this experience. We are no longer just the resonance, we are the harmony, a fusion of every civilization that contributed to our survival. And we owe our existence to the humans who refused to accept the impossible. Chen looked out at their unlikely fleet. 3 ships had become 15, and each vessel now carried the technological legacy and collective memories of species that had been lost to the cosmos for centuries or millennia. They had come to rescue one alien species and had inadvertently become the guardians of galactic history, but their greatest discovery was still to come. 6 months after their escape from the black hole, the discovery that would reshape galactic civilization began with a routine scan of their salvaged technology. Dr. Vasquez had been studying the integrated systems aboard the Resilience when she noticed something that made her call Captain Chen to the science lab immediately. "Captain, look at this," she said, pointing to a complex holographic display showing quantum field patterns. "The technology we salvaged didn't just help us escape, it's been recording everything. Every species that contributed to our survival, left behind a complete archive of their civilization, embedded in the harmonic resonance patterns." Chen studied the swirling patterns of light and energy, each one representing knowledge that had been thought lost forever. "Are you saying we're carrying the history of extinct civilizations in our ship's quantum field?" "Not just history, Captain. Complete cultural archives, scientific databases, artistic works, philosophical treatises, even personal memories of individuals who lived thousands of years ago. The resonance cascade we created didn't just wake up dormant technology, it preserved the consciousness and accumulated knowledge of every species that was caught by that black hole." The implications were staggering. In their desperate attempt to save one species, they had accidentally become the repository for the collective wisdom of dozens of galactic civilizations. The Resilience and its companion vessels weren't just ships anymore. They were living museums containing treasures of knowledge that scholars would spend lifetimes studying. Commander Zephi, now speaking for the newly formed Harmony Collective, had been working closely with human scientists to understand their expanded consciousness. "Captain Chen," they said during their daily briefing, "our merged awareness has allowed us to access memories and knowledge from species we never knew existed. We can see the rise and fall of civilizations, the development of technologies that your people are only beginning to imagine, and wisdom accumulated over millions of years of galactic evolution. But the real breakthrough came when Dr. Vasquez made a connection that changed everything. Captain, I've been analyzing the harmonic patterns we generated during the extraction, and I think I understand what actually happened. We didn't just escape the black hole, we proved that consciousness itself is a fundamental force of nature, capable of affecting the structure of space-time when properly focused and harmonized." "What does that mean for the future?" Chen asked. "It means that everything we thought we knew about the relationship between mind and matter was wrong. The universe isn't just a collection of particles and forces governed by mindless physical laws. Consciousness, intelligence, the very act of observation and intention. These things can literally reshape reality when they work together." The news of their discovery spread across human space like wildfire. Scientists, philosophers, and leaders from every human world wanted to study the technology and knowledge they had recovered, but more importantly, they wanted to understand the implications of consciousness as a force capable of manipulating space-time itself. Dr. Elena Vasquez found herself at the center of a scientific revolution. "We've proven that the universe is conscious," she explained to a gathering of the greatest minds in human space, not in some mystical sense, but as a measurable, reproducible phenomenon. When multiple consciousness work in harmony with compatible technology, they can achieve things that pure physics says should be impossible. The Harmony Collective became humanity's greatest teachers and partners. The rescued aliens shared not only their own crystalline technology, but also the accumulated knowledge of dozens of extinct species. Medical advances that had taken the resonance millennia to develop were integrated with human biotechnology to cure diseases that had plagued both species. Energy technologies based on harmonic resonance began replacing fusion reactors throughout human space. But perhaps the most significant change was philosophical. The discovery that consciousness could affect reality meant that the act of cooperation itself became a kind of technology. Human colonies began experimenting with collective decision-making processes inspired by the Harmony's quantum democracy, where thousands of minds could reach consensus through harmonic resonance rather than debate and conflict. Captain Chen stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Harmony Station, watching ships from a dozen human worlds arrive for the first Galactic Consciousness Conference. The station itself was a marvel of combined human and alien engineering, its crystalline spires singing with harmonic frequencies that could be felt, rather than heard. Remarkable, Conductor HFY said, joining her at the viewport. Their crystalline form now showed traces of integration with human neural interface technology, creating patterns of light that seemed to dance between organic thought and digital processing. 1 year ago, we were the last of our kind dying alone in the void. Now we are part of something larger than any single species could achieve alone. Any regrets about answering our SOS? Chen asked with a smile. Captain, in all the memories we now carry from extinct civilizations, we have found a common thread. Every species that achieved true greatness did so not through conquest or domination, but through cooperation and synthesis. Humans were the first species in known galactic history to risk everything to save strangers. That choice created a resonance cascade that will echo through the cosmos for millions of years. Through the viewport, they could see the first ships equipped with consciousness-driven propulsion systems preparing for departure to distant star systems. The technology they had accidentally discovered during their escape from the black hole had made faster-than-light travel not just possible, but accessible to any species willing to work together in harmonic cooperation. Dr. Vasquez approached them carrying a datapad with the latest reports from exploration teams. Captain, I thought you'd want to see this. The consciousness drive ships have discovered 17 new species in the past month alone, and every one of them has expressed interest in joining what they're calling the Galactic Harmony Network. Any species showing aggressive tendencies? Chen asked, her military training still alert for potential threats. That's the interesting part, Vasquez replied. The consciousness drive technology only works for species that have achieved a certain level of internal cooperation and harmony. Aggressive, warlike civilizations can't generate the kind of unified consciousness needed to manipulate space-time. It's like the universe has a built-in selection mechanism that only allows peaceful species to achieve true interstellar capability. Chen pondered this revelation. The rescue mission that had started as a desperate gamble to save one alien species had evolved into something that could reshape the entire galaxy. They had proven that cooperation wasn't just morally superior to conflict, it was literally the key to unlocking the universe's greatest secrets. Conductor, she said to HFY, what do your people call this phenomenon we've discovered? This ability for consciousness to affect reality? The harmonic patterns in HFY's crystalline form shifted to deeper, more resonant frequencies. We call it the Song of Becoming, Captain. It is the universe singing itself into existence through the combined voices of all conscious beings. And thanks to humanity's courage and refusal to accept the impossible, that song grows stronger every day. As Chen watched ships from across the galaxy arrive at Harmony Station, each one carrying representatives of species eager to join the growing network of conscious cooperation, she realized that their rescue mission had become something far greater than anyone had imagined. They hadn't just saved the resonance, they had discovered that the universe itself was waiting for its children to learn how to sing together. The distress call that had started it all was still being broadcast from automated systems throughout the galaxy, but now it carried a different message. Instead of a plea for help, it had become an invitation, a call for all conscious beings to join the growing harmony that connected mind and matter, thought and reality, hope and infinite possibility. And in the quantum foam of space-time itself, the echo of that first human decision to answer a stranger's call for help continued to resonate, creating ripples of consciousness that would spread to the very edges of the universe, proving that courage and compassion were not just moral choices, but fundamental forces of cosmic evolution.